No one really tells you how quickly freedom can fade after 60 if you stop paying attention. It doesn't vanish in a single night, nor does it come from one dramatic illness or accident. Instead, it slips away quietly through the small choices we make every day, the little habits we let go of, the routines we think don't matter but in truth shape the way our later years unfold. Most people don't pass away before 85 because of one big event. They pass away because of years of silent mistakes that slowly weaken the body, dull the mind, and wear down the spirit. The danger is that these changes happen so gradually that by the time the warning signs appear, it is often much harder to turn things around. Yet there is hope. These mistakes are not written into your destiny, and no matter your age, you have the power to change their impact starting today. In this video, we will uncover 5 of the most common habits that quietly shorten life after 60. And more importantly, we will talk about what you can do to protect your strength, independence, and joy. Stay with me until the very end, because the final mistake is the one most people never consider, and it could be the key to not just living longer, but living better. And before we begin, I invite you to subscribe and share in the comments what your biggest challenge with aging is. I always read your thoughts. Mistake 1. Ignoring everyday movement. The first mistake that quietly shortens life for many older adults is ignoring everyday movement. Too often, people think that exercise only counts if it happens in a gym or as part of some structured routine. After 60, when energy feels lower or health issues appear, many give up on the idea of moving at all, believing it is either too late or too difficult. That belief is costly because it overlooks the truth. Your body does not need intense workouts to stay alive and strong. What it needs is consistent, gentle motion throughout the day. Simple activities such as walking to the mailbox, standing while talking on the phone, or bending down to pick something up are far more powerful than they appear. Each time you move, you are reminding your muscles, bones, and joints that they are still needed. When movement stops, even in small ways, the body begins to weaken, muscles shrink, balance falters, and joints stiffen. These changes do not happen overnight, which is why they are so easy to miss. But after months or years, the results become clear: greater fatigue, slower recovery, and a rising risk of falls or injury. Harold, a retired bus driver, learned this lesson late in life. When he first left work, he enjoyed the rest, spending hours sitting in his favorite chair. He avoided gyms because he thought exercise had to be demanding, and he did not feel up to it. Over time, his legs stiffened, and he began to feel older than his years. A minor fall one morning led his doctor to warn him that his strength was declining faster than expected. That wake-up call changed everything. Harold decided he would never sit longer than 30 minutes without moving. Sometimes it was walking across the room, sometimes stretching by the sink, sometimes stepping outside for a few minutes. The effort was simple, but within 6 months he felt stronger, steadier, and more alive than he had in years. Modern research confirms what Harold discovered. A 2022 study from Columbia University and Harvard showed that standing up and moving for just 2 to 3 minutes every half hour was enough to improve blood sugar, lower blood pressure, and reduce the risk of early death by more than 30%. The movements did not need to be intense. Even simple walking, light stretching, or gentle housework made a measurable difference. What matters most is not perfection, but consistency. Movement is not only physical, it also stimulates the brain by improving blood flow, sharpens memory, and supports emotional health by releasing chemicals that lift mood. It strengthens bones, aids digestion, and improves sleep. When we stop moving, the body begins to prepare for shutdown, not because of age alone, but because it believes it is no longer needed. Longevity belongs not to those who push the hardest, but to those who keep showing up. A single lap around the living room, a stretch at the kitchen counter, or a short walk outside may seem small, but each step protects your independence. If you want to reach 85 and beyond, remember this: every step counts, And the greatest danger is not moving at all. Mistake 2. Skipping preventive health checks. The second mistake that silently shortens life is skipping preventive health checks. Many older adults avoid the doctor unless something is clearly wrong. They may tell themselves that a little stiffness, fatigue, or shortness of breath is simply part of aging. The problem is that some of the most dangerous health conditions, such as high blood pressure, diabetes, or certain cancers, often give no warning signs in the early stages. By the time symptoms appear, damage may already be advanced and harder to reverse. Preventive health checks are like guardrails on a winding road. They do not stop the road from being dangerous, but they protect you from falling when you cannot see what lies ahead. Screenings like blood pressure measurements, blood sugar tests, mammograms, prostate exams, or colonoscopies are not just medical routines. They are life-saving tools. They catch problems early, when treatment is simpler, less expensive, and often more effective. So why do so many people skip them? For some, it is fear. They worry about bad news or feel they are better off not knowing. For others, it is cost or inconvenience. And for many, it is denial, the quiet hope that if they ignore the issue, it might go away on its own. Unfortunately, the body does not work that way. What you do not know can hurt you, and in fact, it can be the very thing that ends your life too soon. Taking preventive health checks seriously is not about living in fear. It is about taking control. When you know your numbers, you can make informed decisions. You can adjust your diet, increase your activity, or begin treatment before the problem grows. Just as importantly, regular visits provide peace of mind. Knowing that your health is being monitored allows you to focus on enjoying life rather than worrying about what might be hiding. The evidence is clear. Studies show that older adults who keep up with regular screenings are more likely to live longer and stay independent. It is not about avoiding death completely. It is about adding years of health and vitality that would otherwise be lost. If you are over 65, skipping checkups is one of the riskiest habits you can have. The time you invest now, just a few appointments each year, can give you many more years of freedom later. Think of it not as a burden, but as an act of self-care, a way of protecting the life you still want to live. If you are still watching and find this useful, please comment number 2 below, so I know you are here and paying attention to your health. And let me give you a reason to stay with me, because the very last mistake we will cover is the one almost everyone overlooks. And it could be the key to adding not just years to your life, but life to your years. So if you want to reach 85 and beyond, make preventive care a priority. Don't wait for pain to force you into action. By then, it may be too late. Mistake 3. Isolating yourself from others. The third mistake that shortens life for many older adults is withdrawing from others and allowing isolation to take hold. Loneliness is not just a sad feeling. It is a real health risk that can be as dangerous as smoking or obesity. When people stop connecting with family, friends, or community, their emotional world shrinks and the body soon begins to follow. Isolation weakens the immune system, increases the risk of heart disease, and accelerates memory loss. Studies show that seniors who experience chronic loneliness have a much higher risk of early death compared to those who stay connected. The reason is simple. Human beings are wired for connection. Just as your body needs food and water, your brain and heart need companionship. Frank, a 78-year-old widower from Arizona, discovered this truth in a painful way after his wife passed away. He spent almost 2 years speaking to almost no one except the mailman. At first, he thought it was easier to stay home than to face conversations that might remind him of his loss. But over time, he lost weight, his arthritis worsened, and his spirit felt heavy. He was alive, but he no longer felt like he was living. Everything began to change the day a neighbor invited him to a weekly coffee group at the community center. Frank resisted at first, but eventually agreed to go. That single act of courage opened a new chapter. He found himself laughing again, listening to others' stories, and slowly feeling that he still mattered. Within months, his energy improved. He slept better, and even his joint pain felt less overwhelming. Connection had given him back his spark. The lesson is clear. Isolation is not only about being physically alone, it is about losing purpose and emotional nourishment. When you have someone to share your thoughts with, your mind stays sharper. When you laugh with a friend, your body releases chemicals that lower stress and strengthen the heart. These are not luxuries, they are essentials for longevity. So how can you protect yourself from this mistake? Start small, call an old friend, say yes to an invitation, visit the library, join a walking group, or attend a local class. If leaving home feels difficult, begin with a phone call or even a video chat. The key is to reach out. Even when it feels easier to stay quiet, waiting for others to come to you rarely works. You must be your own advocate for connection. If you want to live not just longer, but with joy and dignity, do not let isolation steal your years. Your voice, your stories, and your presence matter more than you realize. Reaching 85 and beyond is not only about keeping your body strong, it is about keeping your heart open. Connection is what keeps us human, and it may be the most powerful medicine of all. Mistake 4. Ignoring chronic inflammation. The fourth mistake that quietly robs many people of years is ignoring chronic inflammation. Most older adults accept stiffness, swelling, or fatigue as a normal part of aging. But often these are signs that the body is fighting a hidden battle. Inflammation, when it is short-term, is a natural healing response. A cut on your hand or a cold in your chest improves because inflammation brings healing cells to the area. But when inflammation never turns off, when the body stays in a low-level fight mode day after day, it begins to damage healthy tissues instead of repairing them. This state, often called inflammaging, is linked to nearly every major disease that shortens life: heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, dementia, and even some cancers. The challenge is that chronic inflammation rarely announces itself in obvious ways. It shows up as brain fog, constant tiredness, swelling in the joints, or changes in digestion. Because these signs are subtle, many people dismiss them as just getting older. In reality, they may be early warnings that the body's under stress and quietly wearing down. Science is clear on this point. Studies from the National Institutes of Health and Harvard have shown that chronic inflammation accelerates biological aging, increasing the risk of disability and early death. The good news is that lifestyle choices can calm this hidden fire. Foods such as leafy greens, berries, nuts, olive oil, and fatty fish naturally reduce inflammation. On the other hand, processed meats, fried foods, and sugary snacks feed it. Daily movement, even gentle walking, supports circulation and helps regulate the immune system. Good sleep and stress management also play a crucial role in lowering inflammation. The most important step is awareness. When you pay attention to those quiet signals, stiffness, fatigue, or mood changes, you can take action before the damage grows. By choosing foods and habits that reduce inflammation, you are not just easing discomfort, you are slowing the very process of aging at the cellular level. Ignoring inflammation is like letting a fire smolder in the walls of your house. You may not see the flames, but the damage spreads silently until it is too late. Do not wait until the fire breaks out. Address it now with small, consistent choices that calm the body and restore balance. If you hope to reach 85 and beyond, keeping inflammation under control may be one of the most powerful steps you can take. Mistake 5. Living without purpose. The fifth mistake that shortens life is living without a sense of purpose. After 65, many people step out of the roles that once gave structure to their days. Work comes to an end, children are grown, and routines become quiet. At first, this rest may feel welcome, but slowly, days begin to blur together, and the spark that once made life meaningful fades away. This emptiness is not just emotional, it is physical. Studies show that people who lack purpose have weaker immune systems, higher rates of depression, and shorter lifespans. Purpose does not have to mean big achievements. It does not require starting a business or writing a book. It can be as simple as tending a garden, mentoring a grandchild, helping a neighbor, or learning something new. What matters is having a reason to wake up, a reason to move, and a reason to connect with others. Without it, people often drift into what researchers call existential frailty, a state where the loss of meaning begins to break down both body and spirit. Lawrence, a 78-year-old former carpenter, experienced this after his wife passed away. For months, he felt as though someone had pulled the plug on his life. He ate whatever was easiest, slept through much of the day, and avoided others. Then one afternoon, his daughter asked him to help his grandson carve a small piece of wood for a school project. That moment lit a spark. Lawrence found himself teaching his grandson simple techniques he had once taken pride in. Soon, other children from the neighborhood wanted to learn. Before long, the local church invited him to lead a Saturday workshop. Within 6 months, Lawrence had a reason to plan his days again. His energy returned, his mood lifted, and even his blood pressure improved. What Lawrence discovered is what researchers have confirmed. Purpose is a powerful form of medicine. It motivates the brain to stay active, encourages the body to keep moving, and protects emotional health. People with purpose laugh more, connect more, and live longer, not just in years, but in quality of life. If you feel that your days are empty, remember that purpose is not lost. It simply changes with each season of life. What gave meaning at 40 may be different from what gives meaning at 75. The important thing is to ask yourself, what gives me joy now? Where can I share my gifts today? The answer does not have to be large. It just has to be real. Living without purpose is one of the most dangerous habits after 60 because it allows time to pass without truly living. If you want to reach 85 and beyond, give yourself a reason to get up each day. Purpose will not only add years to your life, it will add life to your years. Final thoughts. Reaching 85 is not only about having good genes or being lucky. It is about the everyday choices that slowly shape the story of our later years. Most people do not lose time because of one sudden event, but because of small mistakes repeated day after day, staying still for too long, skipping health checks, withdrawing from others, ignoring inflammation, or letting purpose slip away. Each mistake on its own may feel harmless, but together they can quietly shorten life and steal independence long before it's time. The hopeful truth is that every one of these mistakes can be changed. You do not need perfect health, wealth, or endless energy. What you need is awareness and small, steady steps. Stand up and move a little more each day. Schedule that checkup you have been putting off. Call a friend instead of waiting for them to call you. Choose foods and habits that calm your body rather than inflame it. And above all, give yourself a reason to wake up each morning with meaning. Aging is not the end of your story. It is a new chapter, and the pen is still in your hand. What you write on those pages is up to you. Ask yourself now, what is one small change you can make today that will help you live not just longer, but better? I would love to hear your answer. Share your thoughts in the comments below, because your story may inspire someone else. And if you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. Your support helps us continue bringing you content that informs and uplifts. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.